To one chapter closer. We're in the book of Mark, chapter 5, verses 21 to 43. Jesus heals in response to faith. Jesus got into the boat again and went back to the other side of the lake, where a large crowd gathered around him on the shore. Then a leader of the local synagogue, whose name was Jairus, arrived. When he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet, pleading feverly with him. "My little daughter's dying," he said. "Please come lay your hands on her, heal her so she can live." Jesus went with him, and all the people followed, crowding around him. A woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She'd suffered a great deal from many doctors over the years. She'd spent everything she had to pay them, but she'd gotten no better. In fact, she has gotten worse. She heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his robe. For she thought to herself, "If I can just touch his robe, I'll be healed." Immediately the bleeding stopped, and she could feel in her body that she'd been healed of this terrible condition. Jesus realized at once his healing power had gone out from him, so he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my robe?" His disciples said to him, "Look at this crowd pressing around you. How can you ask who touched me?" But he kept on looking around to see who had done it. Then the frightened woman, trembling at the realization of what happened to her, came to her and fell to her knees in front of him and told him what she had done. And he said, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace, your suffering's over." While he was still speaking to her, messengers arrived from the home of Jairus, the leader of the synagogue. They told him, "Your daughter's dead. There's no use in troubling the teacher now." But Jesus overheard them and said this to Jairus, "Don't be afraid, just have faith." Then Jesus stopped the crowd, wouldn't let anyone go with him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When he came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw how much commotion and weeping and wailing. He went inside and asked, "Why all this commotion and weeping? The child isn't dead, she's only asleep." The crowd laughed at him, but he made them all leave and took the girl's father and mother and 3 disciples in the room where the girl was laying. Holding her hand, he said to her, "Talitha Kahum," which means, "Little girl, get up." And the girl, who was 12 years old, immediately stood up and walked around. They were all overwhelmed and totally amazed. Jesus gave them strict orders not to tell anyone what had happened, and then he told them, "Give her something to eat."